Am I in the wrong for telling my girlfriend that her home decor is the reason I won't host a work gathering at her place? At 32, I've been with my girlfriend 29 for over a year now. She's smart, funny, a bit quirky, and has a serious job with a good salary. We have a great time together and generally get along well. The only thing is, her choice in home decor is bizarre and not something that you think a normal grown adult would be into. Her apartment is definitely a reflection of herself and her interests. Not in the best way though. My girlfriend has a wall dedicated to animation in one room of her apartment, like Futurama pieces and etchings and some weird triangle guy. Then there's a wall of framed preserved insects in another room, but not insects like butterflies or moths. Instead, she displays tarantulas, beetles, and large sticky insects. Her bathroom has a subtle theme of ocean, pretty common, but instead of starfish or shells, she has a little anglerfish nightlight, a small vampiric squid painting, and then a framed diagram of what apparently is a goblin shark right by the toilet. I would say a majority of her home decor and furnishings are okay. The apartment itself is very modern and sleek. It's just the random decor and juvenile-ish themes like cartoons, insects, and bizarre ocean creatures is off-putting. This is where I might be the a-hole. I avoided bringing people over to her place, especially people from my job, because of how juvenile it looks. Everyone's impressed when they see the high-rise, but that quickly fades once you enter. The one time I brought a work colleague over, they ended up telling me after that they found her insect wall terrifying. I work in finance and appearances and first impressions are important. My office will hold casual gatherings where we get together for a few drinks, get food, and we rotate hosts. And this time, it's my turn. The problem is my place is under some construction and not an ideal place to be right now, so I've been staying with my girlfriend. My girlfriend suggested that we host my colleagues here since she has a space and thinks it'll be fun. I told her that I plan on skipping my rotation and seeing if the next person would be okay with hosting early. She kept pressing on why I didn't want them over here, so I finally said it's because her home decor is strange and not something a grown woman should have, and also that her insect wall horrified one of the colleagues that did come over. My girlfriend got mad and said at the end of the day, it's not my space and these things bring her joy. She also said that she is indeed an adult woman, which is exactly why her apartment is decorated in such a manner. I love my girlfriend, I do, and it's okay to have different interests, but does an adult really need to decorate them with size a few things here and there? I mean, my own mother asked if my girlfriend was autistic after she saw the entire apartment for the first time. So am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for leaving my sister's wedding early because she kept my husband out of the pictures? I'm 31 male and my sister and 34 female got married on Saturday. My husband of 7 years, Mark, 32 male, was there with me up until one point. After the ceremony, Anne wanted a picture of all of our siblings. There's 5 of us, and their respective partners, so we started lining up. When Anne saw that my husband was sitting next to me, she shook her head and said something about him ruining the aesthetic. Apparently, her plan was to put one man and one woman next to each other alternately. My youngest sister, 18 female, who doesn't have a partner and was sitting on the very side, offered to stand between the two of us, so we could be close and Anne's wish would still be respected. I thought that this was a great solution, but Anne disagreed and told Mark to get out of the picture. He's quite introverted and tries to avoid confrontation under all circumstances, so he simply complied and told me not to get angry. But it was obvious that he was hurt and disappointed by being left out. Obviously, it didn't stop me from getting angry and I walked away with him. I can understand that Anna wants her wedding pictures to look exactly how she imagined them, but I think that the idea that my younger sister proposed was very reasonable. I congratulated Anne and her husband one last time, but then I said my goodbyes. When I was asked why we were leaving early, especially before taking the pictures, I said that I didn't feel like our presence was wanted. We left before dinner was served and I took Mark to his favorite restaurant to cheer him up a little bit. Anne has texted me since saying that I was being overdramatic and making a fuss over nothing. Our parents have tried to remain neutral, but except for my younger sister, the rest of the family supports Anne and thinks that leaving early was going too far and I should have sucked it up instead of ruining her big day. So, am I in the wrong?
Am I wrong for not giving my girlfriend 25 female my dinner after I already bought her dinner? My girlfriend and I live in New York City and there's a popular app where you buy leftover restaurant food. Basically, restaurants advertise surprise bags at a reduced price in order to reduce food waste. So yes, the customer doesn't know what they're getting until they pick it up, but the cost is 3 times lower. These are hit or miss, and sometimes you get exactly what you want for a really great reduced price, but sometimes you get something you otherwise wouldn't have picked. So yesterday, I ordered a big surprise bag from a barbecue place I was picking up on the way home. I texted my girlfriend asking if she wanted one, but she said no, she wasn't in the mood for barbecue. However, there was an Indian restaurant right next door that had surprise bags available on the app, so she ordered one of them. The barbecue was $12 and the Indian food was $10. When I got home to unpack the meals to see what I got, I was psyched about my bag. But I can't say the same about my girlfriend. Am I wrong for not giving my girlfriend 25 female my dinner after I already bought hers? I was psyched about my bag, and since I paid $12, I knew the value had to be at least $36, but honestly, the platter looked a lot more expensive. There were burnt ends, ribs, pulled pork, baked beans, potato salad, bread, onions, and pickles. Delicious. But my girlfriend was not so lucky. Her bag only had 6 different types of soup, half of which were cauliflower. Very disappointed, my girlfriend asked me if I'd share my food, and I told her no. I told her I'm hungry and that I offered to get her some, but she told me no, so I'm gonna devour it. She got mad at me and called me a jerk, and I said if she didn't want soup, she should have ordered something specifically. I told her to order something off a food delivery app, but she said she didn't want to spend the money, and for some context, I do make a lot more than she does. And I even offered to walk to the bodega on our street and buy her something, but she told me she just wants this hot meal. Am I wrong for telling my sister-in-law that she didn't actually run a marathon? So I've been a runner for as long as I can remember, and I absolutely love it. I want running to continue growing as a competitive activity and also a just for fun hobby. I also encourage newcomers to running, but recently I encountered a situation where I felt gatekeeping was necessary. Basically, my sister-in-law got into running last year and she absolutely fell in love with it. And I decided I could connect with her on this topic. I wanted to hear about her runs, her progress, and maybe offer guidance if she wanted it. So at a family gathering, I asked her about her runs, and after a bit of conversation, she mentioned she ran a marathon. I was quite surprised she ran a marathon after only getting into running a year ago. That is amazing, and what incredible dedication and drive, I thought to myself. I was about to praise her for this incredible accomplishment, but then she started to explain this marathon in detail. And basically, it was a virtual marathon. Am I wrong for telling my sister-in-law that she didn't actually run a marathon? It was a virtual marathon that she started late last year and apparently completed this year. Basically, it was an app-based event where you tally up your running distances until you reach 26.2 miles. I chuckled slightly and told her that's great she totaled that many miles in that time frame, but it doesn't count as a marathon. I explained that marathons have time limits for completion, which is usually 6 to 8 hours, and if they didn't, I could claim multiple ultramarathons. It's disingenuous and, in my opinion, undermines those who have actually ran a marathon. She obviously didn't take this well and called me an asshole, a bully, and an elitist, and a few other things. I did apologize for upsetting her, but I stand by what I said. She didn't run a marathon. I didn't continue pressing the subject, but she wouldn't speak to me for the rest of the gathering, and my wife does agree with me. But their mother said I should have just let her believe it. Am I wrong?
Story time about how my boyfriend was seeing another girl behind my back. So a little background information, I was living with my dad and I had just started a new school and I became really good friends with this group of kids. And in our friend group, there was this boy who we're gonna call Alex. And him and I hit it off like right away. We had been talking for 2 months. And by the way, during this whole time, his friends were telling me how much he loved me and how much he wanted to be with me. So eventually him and I started dating. And of course, like any other tragic love story, I had to move far away because I had to go live with my mom, blah, 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 blah. But since I would visit my dad for the holidays, him and I would still be able to see each other sometimes, which is pretty good for a long distance relationship, especially when you're in school. So I told him about how I had to move. And he was really sad, but he said that I can trust him. Red flag number 1, because why would you say that in the first place? There should be no reason on why I have to, quote, trust you to be loyal when I'm away. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my boyfriend was seeing another girl behind my back. So like I said, I told him that we were going to have to do long distance and he was sad, but then he said that he could trust me. And like I said before, why the hell would I have to trust you? Because you should just be loyal in general, duh. So I'm like, hey, I want to spend time with you before I leave. Can we hang out? And he was like, oh, sorry, I have plans, but we can hang out later tonight. So I was like, okay, whatever. And a few hours go by. I never get a text from him or a call, nothing. So I text him and he's like, sorry, I forgot. So I'm really sad right now, but I forgave him. Quick note here, ladies, if he wanted to, he would have canceled his plans if he really wanted to see you. Anyway, so I move and fast forward 2 to 3 weeks and Alex and I literally have only been texting, no calls, nothing like that. So I'm talking to one of his friends and one of his friends tells me that he's been talking to this other girl and he's been telling everybody that he's been wanting to break up with me for weeks because he wants to date her instead, like for part 3. Part 3 about how my boyfriend was seeing another girl behind my back. So like I said, I was talking to his friend and his friend said that he's been talking to this girl for 2 to 3 weeks about the time that I've been gone. And he's been telling everybody about how he wants to break up with me for her. So of course I'm sad and crying, and I confront him, and he says, oh, she's just a friend, blah, blah, blah. So I press the issue, and then he tells me that he lost feelings for me weeks ago. And that the reason why he didn't tell me was because he didn't want to hurt my feelings. Yet he led me on for 2 to 3 weeks. Like, how does that work, Alex? How? Anyway, so I blocked him because there's no way in hell that I'm going to keep talking to a guy that was making fun of me with his friends and telling everybody around him that he wanted to break up with me. That's embarrassing.